for a tournament this summer, I was challenged to build a Lord of the Rings scene, but in a pirate style. So I have decided to recreate the Council of Elrond, and it is kind of in this pirate camp hideout where they have used an old ship here to kind of create the structure. And then I've even created all of the minifigures, but in pirate versions, or I've tried to at least. I've tried to make it convincing so you can kind of tell who each of them are. And I've just tried to load this whole thing with lots of detail and had this little white building over here, palm trees, the blue water, and then I even have this black rider here coming in on their own boat, like they're looking for the ring, so they have a map, and then a little horse head at the front to kind of signify the horses that they ride on. So this is coming together pretty well. I've never really built stuff like this without, or like with a custom prompt. So it's kind of fun being challenged to build something super specific, and I'm having a lot of fun throwing in all these details and barrels and that chair back there, nets, and all sorts of things. It's turned out pretty fun. And here is my Gandalf. He's got a little peg leg, and instead of a big staff, he has a little walking stick and his little ponytail there in the back, which I think is fitting. We were given 5 days for this round of the tournament, and so that included all the time to come up with what I was going to build and then actually build it, which of course takes a lot of time. So here I am just finishing up this section on the side of the main portion of the build, and then I still have that portion there on the right that I'm going to have to finish and add a little something to. I tried including as many classic pirate tropes and colors from the classic sets that I could, just so it was really convincing with that bright blue water, the tan beach, and then lots of the lime green plants. I wasn't really sure what to do for this section, so I'm just throwing in a little balcony with a door and a slanted tiled roof here, just because I think that would kind of balance this area well with something on either side of the boat hull itself. This whole build is meant to be kind of thrown together by the pirates and not necessarily look like something that was designed with a lot of fashion and intentionality. So I think this serves that purpose pretty well and is kind of convincing of that. I just finished the whole mock, and the last thing I really needed to do was this section over here. So I just added this little carved statue shrine with a bunch of treasure, and Gollum is getting a little confused with all of the rings and gold there. And then I put these two orcs hanging there kind of as a like orcs not welcome here kind of gesture. And then I think I might add this just as kind of the watcher in the water. I know it wasn't at Rivendell. I don't know, I might not keep that, but I thought it was kind of a fun detail. But I'm really happy with how this has turned out. I think it looks really good. It's nice and colorful, which is really fun, and it's something very, very different than anything I have done before. So I'm really happy, yeah, with all these details, all these little like boxes and pots, and this statue here that I put there with a little balcony there, and this kind of tiled roof area with some dead leaves up there on top. So the shaping and everything of this, I think came out really, really nicely. So I'm very happy. Now I just need to take some pictures of it and get a post up for the tournament. So that's what I'm gonna do now. All right, we got it all set up on this little white background here. So I'm gonna try the white. I might try some other colors too, but I think the white is probably gonna be the best. So I'm just taking some pictures now. I'm gonna try to get all the little details and everything just to make sure it's captured well. And then I think we're good to go. Some fun details with this thing were this bridge that I really wanted to include since I found that in my collection. That's one of those like vintage old brown bridges. I just thought it was perfect having a little like swinging rope bridge between there, and then having a couple of those orcs hanging as a orcs not welcome here kind of thing, and then this statue back here, just to make it kind of similar to the Rivendell set with all those statues. And then all of this, it's kind of hard to tell, but all of this is on these hinges. And that was kind of tricky to get all lined up perfectly, but I think it turned out pretty well. And this white tower, I honestly think I kind of over detailed. I went a little crazy with all the detailing on the side of it there, even though it's completely blocked by this tree. But I don't know, it's some of those little things that are fun to me. And then this kind of cobblestone pattern, having some of those sand green, mossy kind of looking stuff. And then I actually really like how this wooden platform is raised just by a plate and kind of jagged. I just feel like, again, even though it's hidden, it really adds to just the feel of this whole place, where that kind of looks like it's laid on top of this cobblestone foundation. And I kind of like how that looks. These things that you see laying here were meant to be kind of makeshift like seats that they could sit on, but I don't know that they exactly look like that, but I think they just look like a nice detail. And then just some barrels back here with swords and muskets and all sorts of stuff. And then in this chair back there, I was trying to make it look like a kind of woven design for the backing, and I had fun putting that together. I don't know how convincing it is. I think there on the bottom, instead of those dark tan arms, if I had brown ones, that would have been better, but I didn't have any. I don't even know if they exist in that color. And then just some nets and details all along the back. Over here for this little section, I just wanted to have Gollum, since he's kind of following the Fellowship, and he's chasing the ring, and so he found this pile of gold and thought maybe the ring would be in there or something, and turns out there's actually like 5 rings in there. So I don't know, just kind of had fun with all these details, and then like putting some little rock and cobblestone areas there on the beach. And then these palm trees were really fun to kind of figure out how I was going to do that. It's using some interesting pieces. Maybe I'll have to make a tutorial video, but they are a little bit fragile, so I may have to come up with a better design before I make a good tutorial video for that. And then this boat hull piece is actually using a bunch of these arches, and it is also angled forward. So it is on some clips back there, probably really hard to see, but down in that hole there are some clips where it is attached and just angled forward, and that is how that whole thing is attached. And the minifigures, I just wanted to highlight a little bit more. So this is how I did my Legolas, having some of that color coming through with his legs there. And of course the hair, obviously. And then the musket kind of signifies, or kind of represents his bow that he always has. And then Frodo is pretty simple. Just gave him a little gun there. Gandalf I thought was pretty fun with this ponytail there in the back. All gray and everything, of course. I thought that one was kind of fun. Elrond stayed pretty similar. I just replaced his hairpiece with more of kind of a gypsy vibe, I guess. Gimli, another fun one, gave him that hat and then a different torso. This torso is from the Dungeons and Dragons dwarf minifigure, and then gave him a couple of these tomahawks there. Aragorn, again with his ponytail there in the back, but nothing too crazy. And then here we're using Jack Sparrow's legs and body for Boromir, and gave him that little sling for his sword. And then for the Black Rider, just gave him a fully black Imperial hat, and I thought that was kind of fun, since these are the pirates. Of course, the bad guys would have to be the Imperials. And then up top, I just have this random pirate. I guess he's kind of meant to be like an elf in Rivendell, but he's just up here on the lookout. I really had fun trying to make this look good from a lot of different angles. It does stick out a little bit further back here with some of those arches in the structure, but even this little roof here was kind of fun, since it's using different kinds of like snot pieces so that it is perfectly flush and there's no weird lip, since there usually is when you use cheese slopes. I don't know if I can even show that kind of back there. But yeah, I just had fun with all these different details, and probably went a little too crazy with some of like the detailing in some of these spots that really aren't going to be seen, but it was a lot of fun. But that is going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching and following along through this whole video. Make sure you're subscribed if you want to keep seeing all the future mock videos that I make on this channel. But that's going to do it for this one. Here are some more videos that YouTube thinks you might also enjoy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.